Right troops, how's it going? It's Rory here from Mammoth Audio, and today we're going to be doing a little dive into the many possibilities from our brand new sample pack, Tank. Now, this sample pack is an amazing collection of different timbres and sounds, different sonic worlds that can slip in perfectly to a lot of your sort of thriller cues that you're looking to do, a lot of horror cues, action, and is really a versatile bunch of samples. Today I have a short little thriller cue that was created, or composed rather, by our in-house composer in LA, Aaron Harris, and he put this together and he told me around about 5 minutes, so it kind of gives you an idea of how quickly you can build an amazing sonic world, an amazing sounding cue with these samples. They're literally ready for you to drag and drop and start creating, experimenting, and composing your own fantastic sounding cues. So what I think I would just do with these, I think 8 or 9 samples, was just play you the cue together. We'll go through some of the cues individually, or the stems individually, and we'll have a talk about how they could help with your next composition. So let's have a listen first. So there you go, quite a simple and straightforward structure in this composition, starting off with less and then building up into some sort of reveal, hit, transition, climax at the end there. So let's go through them one by one, starting off with this, the drone Space Child. Now, Aaron put minimal effects on all of these stems throughout this composition to sort of show you what they sound like when they're raw, and with minimal processing and audio effects. I think on this one he added a Leslie effect and reverb to the drone just to give it some movement and ambience. And let's listen to it solo so you can kind of get a glimpse of how we get this track off to the right start. So straight away it's very eerie, unsettling, unnerving, and it kind of sets the tone straight away as the brams and the percussion booms come in on that sort of first line, that first measure there after the sort of transition going into it. Let's listen to this second one here, and this is one of the brams. This one's this Bespoke Bode Bram. So those have a really nice kind of rise, and then a sort of really nice timbre in the tail. It's very growly. You can imagine the sort of the harsh bow on the string type technique, which is sort of given that sound and that sonic quality to it. So Aaron also coupled this with these two really great hits here. The first one is the frame drum, and the second one here is the percussion hit. Kind of what he's sort of done is, chosen these two hits that complement each other. One slightly more as a sort of low boom hit, and the other which is more punchy. So the spectrum's sort of all covered there. You've got the low end, and you've got sort of the mid to sort of mid-high punch range taken care of with these two hits which complement each other. And then once we solo it with the Bram, you can kind of hear that instant impact that these three stems just by themselves with no audio processing or effects can really create. So let's just have a listen to them by these three themselves, and then we can include in the other stems as well. Amazing. See if I just take off the Brams here, we'll listen to the different hits together. This is amazing, and I think why these sort of sounds are really important in today's sort of like context of not just trailer music but any compositions is that really things that stand out in terms of musical aspects have always got a sort of really weird, unique, sort of niche quality to them. So once we've got this sort of percussion hit, which takes up the higher end, mixed in with the really nice low resonance of this frame drum, the tail really lovely, in a really lovely way, kind of echoes out of that sort of higher end hit with the first percussion hit. So if I go back here again and let's listen again. Really, really nice tail there, and a sort of like almost reverb type quality to it as it kind of slowly rings out. That low end sort of really would help build to the back end of any sort of composition, and then obviously in the context of this thriller cue, it really gives us that sort of punch, that oomph and that power that we need in order to sort of keep the track ticking. Let's move on then. We'll unsolo these and go to the percussion hit 2, which starts to come in as the track is beginning to build momentum and crescendo towards the end. And again with the other percussive elements involved. Let's go back to here to the build up. Awesome. And then as you can see on that final kind of hit and that kind of realization, revealing moment, if you were trying to envision it in some sort of cue, we've got our wood hit from Tank. So let's just listen to the build up and then with the wood hit as well. What Aaron's kind of cleverly done here is he's taken the different hits from the sample pack with different timbres and sort of like sonic qualities to them, and then he sort of split them up in terms of the structure of this little cue. So this wooden hit, for example, has got a very different sort of timbre and sonic quality to it. So when he's left that to sort of be used only on the kind of final hit when the piece or the cue ends, it kind of leaves the listener with a different feel to the build-up, and therefore you get a better resolution and just overall a nice ending. Let's listen to it soloed by itself. It's got a real nice kind of almost chaotic, destructive quality to it. Again, it sounds fantastic by itself, but then when you put it in the context of the other hits that complement it, then it really does start to sound fantastic, again with minimal editing at all. Let's move further down. Now I want to just pull this out so you can actually see the full name. This FX in the Tank here is called Screamed Bowstrings, and as you can see, it's also structurally pulled throughout to be a transition into sort of the next bar or the next sort of sections as we go along. Obviously it gets our piece off to a fantastic start with that kind of screechy riser feeling. You're instantly unsettled, and then we go into the big hits, booms and brams. Let's listen to it without being soloed first, and then we can solo it so you can hear its qualities by itself. And then let's solo it here so you can sort of really hear that kind of distorted screech come through. What Aaron's obviously done here is a little bit of automation just to give it a little bit more of a sort of swooshing, swooping feeling to it, swooping and swooshing, as we're going into these different hits. Really nice. And then let's just unsolo it as well. Awesome. Let's not forget these evil strings. This riser is fantastic. I'm a big fan of a kind of tremolo, weird horror string riser. Big fan of it. These can be used in thrillers, horrors, action, pretty much anywhere where the sound design requires there to be some sort of tension. Let's listen to it soloed, and then we can listen to the final little bit of the piece again. Fantastic. I'll bring it in here just so we can actually sort of hear the context of it as we're getting to this final hit. Excellent. And then finally, Aaron's added in a little ticking percussive ticks here, just to really drive up the tension. As you can see, structurally, sonically, we're starting to get a little bit more busy as we're building up to this kind of final hit, this final crescendo. And those little ticks, obviously, they're not massively in the sonic foreground. They're kind of in the background there just to really, really crank up the tension slightly. And as all these things are starting to come together, you're starting to really get that sense of the thrill, of the horror, of the terror, of the action, whatever it is you're trying to go for. So let's solo it. He's also done a little bit of automation, and then we can listen to the whole thing in the context of the piece again. One of the things that Aaron does really well is in his custom pieces that he's done for Elephant Music, and a lot of our other composers have got this skill as well. They can kind of implement almost like these found sound, quote unquote, type sonics into their pieces. And what it kind of does is it takes them away from the world of just completely MIDI sounding. There's amazing composers out there that always, are sending in demos or asking if they can be involved with Elephant Music and Mammoth Audio, if they can somehow, be involved in albums and stuff. And you can tell that they've got fantastic composing ability, but they're kind of lacking something which kind of makes it realistic. And these sort of little additions, like the sort of salt and pepper into this sort of cue, it's kind of just the small little things which make it more unique and sound fantastic. If you can get your own found sounds, it's always a big plus, but with Tank, you don't need to do that. We've got all of these ready for you at extremely high quality for you to drag and drop into your compositions. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with them, experiment. You can match them with our other free sample packs. These, for example, off the top of my head, I'm sure would go fantastic with our stutter pack, with our hits pack, with our drones pack that we've got. So there's loads and loads of different ones that you can mix and match with here to get some really interesting results. So if you like the sounds in this little thriller cue and you want to check out more about the Tank free sample pack in general, go and check us out at mammothaudio.io, where you can sign up to get our newsletter, but also free weekly tutorials, and of course all of these free sample packs every single month. Be sure to go check out our Instas, our socials as well, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, for some more news as we go into the year in 2021 and when the music becomes a bigger and bigger part of our lives as we're going to normality. Thanks very much. Until next time, take care.